Sarah, you and I always have things, pro-life things, floating around in the car. Whether it's a set of fetal models rolling around on the floorboard, or
in the box.
In the box, yeah. Or it's loose pro-life pamphlets all over the ground. We have all kinds of materials because the materials are very important. You need to have materials about the Pregnancy Resource Center, about adoption services, have a physical paper for a church to contact. We need to have all that information for her there. What do you think are some important resources to have?
Well, you mentioned the fetal models. I always carry around a 12-week fetal model in my purse because I never know when I'm going to have the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with a woman who's in need. And that's a great thing to have because most of these women are told your baby is just a blob of tissue at this many weeks old. And when you show them this little child that has facial features, that has arms and legs and fingers and toes, it's very eye-opening for them to be able to see that and relate in their mind, this is a human being inside of me.
No, absolutely. Another thing we like to do is bring hymnals because Sarah has a wonderful voice. Well, why do you guys sing at the abortion clinic?
Well, I think singing is also a great idea because if you think about it, these women are sitting inside and they're in this cold, imposing abortionist office waiting for their appointment, and they hear this just joyful noise outside, and to them it comes across as this completely different world from where they're sitting. And it's also a good idea because these women and the workers in there don't have anywhere to go. They're stuck there listening to us.
Yeah, and that's a very good point because there are multiple audiences here. Sometimes we'll bring signs that explain what we're doing, that this is a place where abortions are happening for people who are just passing by. Other times we'll have signs for the women, things like pictures of newborn babies, because this really solidifies the idea that this is a new child and that what she's doing is going to kill a child. Other times when we have less direct access to the children or to the women, we'll use graphic images. And the point of that is to really set in that this is murdering an innocent child.
Absolutely. I remember seeing my first graphic image when I was around 6 years old. And I know to a lot of people, they say, oh, you shouldn't show that to a child, that's wrong, and they shouldn't be seeing that. But I can vividly remember seeing this picture, and it was not emotionally scarring for me or anything strange or weird like that. Instead, to me, is this innocent young child who hadn't been exposed to the world as much as others yet, and to all the arguments from one side or the other. I could see this graphic image of this dead child, and it made me sad, and it made me realize this is wrong and this needs to be stopped.
No, absolutely. The materials we actually get into women's hands are very important. There's a sidewalk counselor down in Riverside, California, who doesn't have access on the sidewalk to the clinic, but she catches them as they pull into the parking lot, and she hands them a handful of information. And this is the information that she's going to be reading while she's in the clinic.
And that's also great because when you're standing outside holding your sign and you've been out there for hours and you're feeling helpless, like, is this really doing any good? And am I really helping these women by just standing here? Then it's great to have something to hand to them as they go inside while they're sitting down and they are waiting for their appointment. They have nothing else to do. They look down and they see this paper and they're curious and they start reading it.
Yeah, and there's no silver bullet with resources.
Yeah.
So we have to have a great variety of things that would appeal to a woman. Appeal to maybe the sense that she has no other options because it's a financial burden. Having something in there that says, we have the resources to care for your pregnancy. Or perhaps it's she just doesn't understand that this child is a person with a heartbeat that's this developed. So having the information about fetal development there, one of those things may appeal to her as she's reading it. There was a very popular movie a couple years back that addressed abortion, and there was a sidewalk counselor in there. The movie was Juno, and while the sidewalk counselor isn't portrayed particularly well, she does something, she illustrates a point that I think we should take, and that you don't have to have the perfect scientific fact to convince the woman. You just need to be there and show you care. In that movie, the girl said, your baby has fingernails. And I don't think that the point was that if every woman knows that a baby has fingernails, then they're not going to have abortions. The point is, if a woman knows that there are people who care for her, then it's going to change her perception of this abortion. She's not alone. She has other options. And we personally don't believe that women choose to have abortions because they like it. They feel that this is their only option. And when Christians have left our community to believe they have no other options but to kill their children, we need to step up. We need to be more like Christ and show that we care about women in our community. So having those resources in their hand is very important.
And don't get discouraged. I mean, we have women who come up to us months later that we never even talked to or met, who tell us, you guys just standing outside here with your signs, that saved my baby.